This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
He hides me. I am invisible. Someone please free me out. We are free, can't you see? All the silence, all that's bad. We are free, can't you see? We are silenced by fear.
Following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, okay, I got it. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, we are broadcasting from our Safety FM studios on this lovely Monday, February the 23rd of 2026. And we are coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM and hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big.
Oh, yes, hanging out with our friends at Radio Big, because that's kind of what we do around here, no doubt about that. So how are you? How have you been? How has the last, 48 to 72 hours been since you and I last hung out, possibly? Because that's when I was around last, you know. That's why I always say that. People ask me, why do you say within the last 24 hours and 72 hours and all that stuff? Because that's the last time I was on the air. That's why the reference. Okay, so let's talk. Let's do some things. Number one, if you are in the Northeast today, it sucks because the snow plows that you're probably going to need to be able to get the hell out of anywhere that are going on. Of course, traffic delay in regard to flight, but we're not here to talk about the misery that is going to be flying here. But we're going to talk about some other stuff. So let me kind of explain what we do around here. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. That's just kind of what we do. There is no other angle here in regards of what we have going on. So we talk about what's going on currently inside of the news stuff, and then we bring in some professional broadcasters, and they'll go away and talk about all the stuff that's going on. We give you some level of a main story. That way we can tie everything together of what's going on. And then some people will turn around and go, well, why the hell are you talking about the news? It's because I love it so much. Now, realistically, the reason why we talk about the news is because we're constantly talking about that you need something that's going on currently than for us to be able to tie it into everything else that's going on in the world. Because listen, I'm going to tell you, if you go to something, specifically, and we're going to talk about safety, and you're doing kind of one of those morning meeting things, and you don't have something thematic or topical that's going on in real time, I'm probably going to not really pay tons of attention, and you start giving me about the report. The report says that you are not in the green today. You were supposed to be asking for a score of 5, and it did not occur. So, that's just not going to get anybody's attention. Now, if you tell me about some other stuff that's going on, you might pique my interest a little bit before we start going into everything else. Just the reality on how it works. Anyway, so with that being said, why don't we do a few things here? Number one, I have some friends that are hanging out. from Feature Story News that are ready to go. And then if you want to interact with the show, it's simple to do so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging are the options of what we get to do. And so if you want to do an audio message, if you want to do a video message, if you want to do a text message, those are all options. It gives me a prompt over here on the screen. That's how I know what the hell's going on, if something's kind of going the right way or not. That's the reality of everything that's going on. So, because that's what I'm going to say today. We're going to continue and go down the path. So let's go ahead and do that. We are going to get you down in regards to what we need to be talking about. So let me bring in my friends from Feature Story News, and we're going to move forward from there.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in New Delhi, I'm Ishan Garg. Secret Service agents and other law enforcement officials shot and killed an armed man who entered the perimeter of U.S. President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida in the early hours of Sunday morning. Local police identified the man as 21-year-old Austin Tucker Martin from the U.S. state of North Carolina. Ira Spitzer has more.
According to local officials, the man was carrying a fuel canister and a gun when he was engaged by law enforcement, who told him to drop the items. He put down the fuel canister but raised the gun into a shooting position, prompting the Secret Service and local police to open fire, killing him. While President Trump often spends weekends at Mar-a-Lago, neither he nor First Lady Melania Trump were present at the time, with the president spending the weekend in Washington. President Trump has previously faced 2 assassination attempts, both in 2024, one at his Florida golf course and the other at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania where his ear was grazed by a bullet. Ira Spitzer, San Francisco.
Donald Trump has increased his latest global tariffs from 10% to 15%. It follows Friday's U.S. Supreme Court's ruling that the president's 2025 use of emergency powers to impose duties was unlawful. Jagruti Dave has more from Washington.
In a Truth Social post, President Trump slammed the Supreme Court's decision as ridiculous, poorly written and extraordinarily anti-American, adding that, effective immediately, he was raising the 10% worldwide tariff on countries to the fully allowed and legally tested 15% level. But these tariffs can only be imposed for a maximum of 150 days. The US now has to issue an estimated $130 billion worth of refunds, a process which is likely to involve legal challenges. I'm Jagruti Dave in Washington.
89 parties, including the US, China and the European Union, have signed the New Delhi Declaration at the end of week-long AI Impact Summit. Gathered in the capital last week, countries and international organizations agreed that AI policy should rest on 7 core pillars: building human capital, widening access for social empowerment, ensuring secure and trustworthy AI, improving energy efficiency, boosting AI in science, and democratizing AI resources. The declaration backs several voluntary, non-binding frameworks, including a charter for the democratic diffusion of AI to widen access to foundational AI tools, a global impact commons to share and scale successful AI application, and a trusted AI commons platform for security tools and best practices. It also supports guiding principles on reskilling workers in the age of AI and playbooks for workforce development and resilient AI infrastructure.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Ukraine has been marking a grim anniversary. On Sunday, it was 4 years to the day since Russian President Vladimir Putin made his fateful decision to invade the country, bringing war to Europe for the first time since 1945. The outlook for peace remains as elusive as ever, according to Kira Rudik, leader in Parliament of Ukraine's pro-European Holos party.
We do not see the end of the war in sight. We see absolutely no facts here on the ground that Putin is ready to end the war. The keys to ending the war are not in Kiev, but they are in Kremlin. And there is no reason in pressuring Ukraine to peace if Russia still is ready to fight. We know that Russia's economy is declining. However, we also know that there is no actual realistic sign that Putin wants to stop and that he will stop soon. So we shouldn't be feeding ourselves and our partners with the illusions that the peace is around the corner. So we need to be preparing to continue fighting. We need to be fixing our energy infrastructure. We need to be manufacturing more weapons to defend ourselves, acting as if the war will not be over soon.
Latest efforts to try and ignite peace talks ended in Geneva last week with continuing stalemate. The Russians called them tough but businesslike. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
FSN is an independent source of news for TV, radio and digital networks worldwide. You can find more of our minute-by-minute updates on Twitter. Follow us there at Feature Story. And we have a wealth of audio and video stories from our global news bureaus on Facebook. You can find us there by following Feature Story News. Stay tuned for further updates right here. But for now, that is the latest Feature Story News. Ishan Garg reporting.
Attention! Attention! The signal you are listening to has traveled across decades, bounced off the ionosphere, and landed right into your radio. Do not adjust your dial.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
You've seen the loop. You've felt the shift. The script doesn't fit anymore, and neither do you. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct is the third and final signal in the trilogy from J. Allen, Ph.D. And this time, it's not about waking up. It's about what you do once you're awake. The system didn't break. It just stopped pretending to hold you. And now it's blinking, rebranding presence, packaging resistance, and calling it progress. This book isn't a guide. It's a transmission. It doesn't teach the system how to evolve. It shows you how to stop performing for it. You'll see what happens when awareness becomes responsibility, when audits don't listen, and when leadership becomes a loop. But if you've made it this far, you're not here to be managed. You're here to carry signal. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct. Now available in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by J. Allen, Ph.D. Because if it couldn't hold your signal, it was never real to begin with.
These days, it can be hard to find and hire the right candidates for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs made it easier to find the people that you want to talk to faster and for free. I have to tell you, even before they ever became a sponsor here on Safety FM, we have used LinkedIn Jobs to help find the people that we have here on Safety FM. It's an easy service to use. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of only the most qualified candidates. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number one in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
If a radio show could trend, we'd break the internet before breakfast.
Okay, so there you go. Currently 15 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Monday. Now, it's pretty lovely if you kind of take a look around. Yeah, don't get too kind of thrown off about some things that are going on inside of the world. So where do you want to start? We can start off on the weirdest of weird or the normal of normal. And I think I want to go gross. So let's do this. A diehard Cheesecake Factory fan says that her loyalty is being tested again after a birthday lunch in Nashville went sideways. Everything was great. Bread, nachos, steak. The works until dessert. She found a hair on her cheesecake. The staff replaced it. The second slice also had a hair in it. She also once is forgivable, but twice is wild. Commentators mostly think that she was overreacting. Expect experts back that up. Swallowing a stray hair isn't dangerous. It's just gross. The FDA says nobody's getting sick from it. It's more psychological than medical. Don't look at the stuff that the FDA says is okay to be in your food going forward. So 2 hairs. That's not dessert. That's a wig sampler, if you start thinking about it. And nothing says happy birthday like protein with bonus keratin. And Cheesecake Factory said, you wanted layers? We gave you layers. It's not a topping. It's a follicle feature, if one may say it that way. And when they said make it from scratch, they didn't mean scalps exactly. So there you go. Some stuff going on right there as we are talking. Okay, so let's start talking about some other stuff. A FedEx driver in Louisiana is accused of going from delivery man to personal shopper, according to the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office. The 27-year-old Tyran Jackson allegedly stole undelivered packages and stashed them in a storage unit on Perkins Road in Baton Rouge. Detectives tracked the missing shipments and got a warrant and found about $62,000 worth of merchandise piled inside the unit. After inventorying the goods, they located Jackson and arrested him. That's a route. Not a route. That is not a route. Let me rephrase that. It's a side hustle. He didn't misplace the packages. He relocated them. Also, your package has been delivered, to aisle 3 of his storage said. Also, 62 grand, the prime level ambition. Porch pirates are amateurs. This was corporate level looting. And he wasn't a scanning package. He was auditioning them for his collection, is what it sounds like. So what do you think here? No, seriously, $62,000 worth of product. I mean, if you start thinking about that, that just gets to one of those points where you go, okay, at what point do you go, this makes sense what I'm doing, or you just start questioning all of your decisions in life until that point? Because that's going to be the other portion to think about slightly. I mean, not a lot, but you can think about it slightly in regards to what's going on. So there you go. Okay. So we are familiar with large language models, I would hope, because, we use them. You do use the ChatGPTs of the world. You use the Geminis of the world. Let's see, what is the Perplexities of the world, the Claws of the world. You see where I'm getting here. So take a listen to this one. A 21-year-old woman in South Korea, identified only as Kim, has been arrested and charged with murder after allegedly killing 2 men by drugging their drinks. Police say that his first death happened on January the 28th in Seoul in a motel. A second man was found dead on February the 9th at a similar meetup. Investigators also suspect the prior attempted murder in December of 2025 involving her then partner, who lost consciousness after being given a sedative laced in his drink. Authorities say that she researched dangerous drug and alcohol combinations using ChatGPT, allegedly asking questions like what happens when sleeping pills are mixed with alcohol and how would that be lethal. After the December incident, police say that she increased the dosage of benzodiazepines, a depressant like Xanax and volume. In later cases, she repeatedly admitted to mixing her prescribed sedatives into a drink, but claimed that she didn't realize that the doses would be deadly. Investigators argue that her search history shows intent and that her charges were upgraded to murder. Police are still investigating whether they may be additional victims. That she is now scheduled to undergo psychotherapy assessment as part of the ongoing case is one of the things that's being said here. So that's one thing for sure. So what do you think about it? Kind of makes you question some things. So when you search history becomes Exhibit A, that's a bad day. I was just curious, doesn't land the same in the courtroom? I mean, I'm just saying, think about that for a moment. Duh. And you're Googling how much is lethal. You're not planning a dinner party. And turns out the terms and conditions don't cover that. Your Honor, Exhibit B is her browser history. When detectives say, walk us through your research, it's already over. So what do you think here? No, I mean, I think it gets interesting. And let's just be realistic. It's not like with these large language models, it's kind of hard to what we would use the term jailbreak to get some information if it tells you at first that it can't give it to you. Because there's always ways to
skip around
in regards of what you're trying to look for. It's just the reality of what's going on. So should we say this one already? Because I think we should. So let's go ahead and say it.
WTF. Welcome to Florida.
A Florida woman, 32-year-old Emily Sabagal, was arrested after allegedly leaving her 4 and 3-year-old kids in an Uber for more than 2 hours while she went drinking. Police say that she appeared intoxicated, canceled the ride mid-trip, handed over the driver $10, and she said that she'd be back in 3 minutes. She wasn't. After nearly 2 hours, the driver called 911. Officers found the kids hungry, thirsty, but otherwise okay. Emily was later located more than 2 miles away outside of McDonald's, allegedly slurring her words and unable to explain what happened. She was charged with child neglect and 2 counts of child desertion, later posting bond. The Uber driver, basically an unpaid babysitter with 5-star rating. That's not rideshare, that's childcare. UberX just added a new service, Uber Sitter. She said 3 minutes, that's Florida time, and McDonald's was closer than common sense, but that cannot put parenting on an airplane mode. I mean, I'm just saying. So what do you think? No, seriously. So I don't know. Just a weird one. I look at stuff like that and I go, I don't understand this. Okay, so I think it might just be kind of one of those weird things that just happens here.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
So before I get a little bit serious, let me talk about this. Did you hear about this one? Oreo just dropped the villain edition back in January. The brand rolled out Marvel Oreo, Stuff of Legend cookie, regular Oreo flavor with 32 different emblems, really featuring Marvel heroes and villains. The storyline gimmick 3-packs made it to the stores, and then the 4th was supposedly blocked by villains. Now the missing pack has arrived, entered Marvel Oreo Stuff of Doom cookies, inspired by Dr. Doom, longtime nemesis of the Fantastic Four. These new flavors called Mass Decadence. It's chocolate graham cookie stuffed with toasted marshmallows and flavored black cream. And yes, the black cream turns your tongue green. Subtle, not even a little. As for getting your hands on it, pre-sales start on the Oreo website. And they hit the retailers on March 2nd and limited time only. I will tell you that the ones that are out now, the non-villain version, we'll call it the good guy version. Yeah, what a name there. once you open them, the cream inside of the cookie itself turns blue. Yeah, it turns blue. Don't know why it turns blue. It just turns blue. So there you go. Okay. So I'm going to talk about this one, and then we're going to move into something serious. Well, this is kind of serious, but not as serious as you probably want to hear. But divorce rates in the U.S. have been on the decline for decades, particularly so that in the last 15 years, according to Pew Research Center, still about a third of Americans who have ever said I do also have divorced. In some states, far worse than others. Mental Floss takes note on the analyst's national data. The Tata2 concluded that divorce is most common in the following states. And number 10 was Arkansas with 8.03% or rate. New Hampshire, 8.15%. Tied with West Virginia at 8.15% as well. Delaware with 8.17%. Kentucky, 8.35, Tennessee at number 5 with 8.39, Mississippi, number 4 with 8.66, Nevada comes in with 8.75, number 2 is Alabama with 8.80, and the number 1 place to get a divorce is Oklahoma with 9.71 divorces per 1,000 people. Per 1,000 people. So there you go. Some stuff to talk about. What do you think here? It's interesting. I mean, I think it's interesting. Makes you kind of go, well, probably not a state I'd want to move to. So there you go. Okay, so let's talk about this. We know that we normally don't try to talk too much about sports around here, but we're going to talk about this one. Minnesota Viking wide receiver Rondale Moore has died. Authorities in New Albany, Indiana, his hometown, confirmed that he was found dead on Saturday in a garage. Police say that he died of self-inflicted gunshot wound. The Floyd County coroner has scheduled an autopsy, and the case remains under investigation. Moore started at Purdue University before being selected in the second round of the 2021 NFL draft by Arizona Cardinals. He spent 3 seasons in Arizona, but battled multiple knee injuries. In 2024, he was traded to Atlanta Falcons and then later placed on an injured reserve after another injury training camp. He signed with the Minnesota Vikings before the 2025 season, but tore his ACL in the first preseason game, and then he was sidelined again. So there you go. Some stuff going on right there. I mean, what a weird thing going on. When you start thinking about it, man, what a weird time. So there you go. Sorry to hear. I mean, sorry for the loss for sure, no doubt. Let's continue talking about some other stuff. The U.S. is back on top of the hockey world. Jack Hughes scored 1 minute and 41 seconds into overtime to lift the team, the USA, past Canada 2-1 for gold at the 2026 Winter Olympics. The Americans' first Olympic hockey title since 1980, the Miracle on Ice. This time, no underdog story. The roster was stacked with NHL talent and went unbeaten throughout the tournament. Goalie Connor Hellebuyck, I think, was the backbone, stopping 41 of 42 shots and finished the games with a perfect 18 for 18 penalty play kill behind him. The U.S. struck first with a goal by Matt Baldy. Canada tied later in the second, and Hughes ended it in OT. Fittingly, against the Canadian team that dominated the international hockey for the past 16 years, but 2 of the U.S. players came through USA Hockey Development Program, including the captain, Auston Matthews. Not Austin, Auston. Like the Tharick brothers and Jack Eichel. Just to make it sweeter, the U.S. women also beat Canada for the gold, so it was a clean sweep. Take a listen.
Watch the cross, it comes! Jack Hughes wins it! The golden goal for the United States! For the first time since the 1980 miracle, the United States takes the gold!
Okay, so they took the gold. So there you go. Now people's life has changed. I don't know. It's kind of one of those weird things to talk about. So there you go. Some stuff going on. Okay, so the final day of competition at the 2026 Winter Olympics has concluded and games have reached their end. Athletes from around 90 countries battled in 116 events over 16 days. The USA Today tracked each nation podium finishes. Here's a look at the final medal standings for the U.S. and Canada. United States with 33, 12 gold, 12 silver, 9 bronze, and Canada had 21, 5 gold, 7 silver, and 9 bronze. So there you go. That's the readout there. Okay, so take a listen to this because, the world gets more and more interesting as we do talk. So let's talk about this one. The internet detective mode over C-SPAN caller named John Barron because he sounded a whole lot like President Trump. The caller phoned in on Friday and praised Trump, knocked his critics on the social media is split, and was just a spot-on impersonator, or was actually the president dialing in, giving himself a little on-air love. Fueling the debate, Trump has a history. Back in the 80s and the 90s, he was known to call reporters using fake names to hype himself up. A CNN investigator previously concluded that the spokesperson called John Miller was in fact Trump and was barely a voice disguise. So now the question is making the rounds. Coincidence or deja vu? So take a listen.
John in Virginia, Republican. Let's hear from you.
Well, this is John Barron, and this is the worst decision you ever have in your life, practically. Jack's going to agree with me, right? But this is a terrible decision. And you have Hakeem Jeffries, he's a dope, and you have Chuck Schumer, who can't cook a cheeseburger. Of course these people are happy. But true Americans will not be happy. And you have the woman earlier, I assume she's a woman, she's a Democrat, but she said she's disgraced. She's devastated.
All right,
by
John.
this.
We'll go to Chester.
Okay, so what do you think? I don't know. To me, and I could be absolutely wrong, it definitely sounds like an impersonator. So there you go. I don't know. Some stuff to think about. Okay, so let's talk about this one real quick. Mexican authorities say that the military killed Nemesio Rubén Osaga Cervantes, known as El Mencho, the alleged co-founder and leader of the Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación, the CJNG. During the operations yesterday in Jalisco, officials say that he was wounded in the operations and died while being transported to a hospital in Mexico City. 3 other cartel members were also killed and arrested. Authorities seized rocket launchers, weapons, and vehicles. Following the operation, cartel members reportedly set up roadblocks, burned vehicles, and triggered violent crashes across parts of Jalisco, including Guadalajara, in an effort to disrupt security forces. The governor has activated emergency security measures and urged residents to stay home as public transportation was suspended. El Mencho had led the CJNG for more than a decade and had been indicted on multiple times in the United States on drug trafficking charges, including fentanyl distribution. He previously served prison time in the 1990s and returning to the organization of crime later on. So there you go. Some stuff to think about, no doubt about that. So anyways, it is 32 minutes past the top of the hour, so let's go ahead and get into it because it is time to do our story of the main, our main of the story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so all right, let's get into our main story time right now here on the Rated R Safety Show. And before we dive in, I just need to say this out loud so it actually registers in my own head. Today's episode is episode 1,300. 1,300 episodes. So if you had told me when we started that this would still be a thing sitting behind the mic 1,300 episodes later, talking about the realities of work, the blue line, the signal, the noise, I would have told you that you were out of your damn mind, because there is no doubt there. Because let's be honest, I didn't think that the system would let us survive this long. I figured somebody in a suit with a clipboard would have pulled the plug by episode 50 is really kind of the way that I looked at the whole thing. I'm still shocked that it's here, but that's the fun part. It is still here, and you're still here. And since it's a milestone episode, I figured we wouldn't play it safe today. I figured today would be the perfect day to talk about the one thing that you're absolutely unequivocally not supposed to talk about in our industry. I want to talk about secret societies of safety. Now, hang on, I'm not talking about guys in hooded robes performing rituals in the woods, and I'm sure as shit not talking about something such much more insidious is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the velvet rope. the safety country club. I'm talking about the cartel, if one may put it that way. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever noticed that when you go to big conferences or you open the industry magazines or scroll through your LinkedIn feed, it is the exact same names over and over and over again. It's the same 5 to 10 people keynoting every major event and the same handful of consultants getting the massive corporate contracts. It's the same group of influencers patting each other on the back in the comment sections. And I want you to ask yourself, why is that? It's because those specific individuals possess some magical, godlike understanding of human behavior, and the rest of us just can't grasp. Are they the only ones who know how to keep people alive on the job site? And to answer the question, it's hell no. It's just hell no. You see the same names over and over again because the business of safety is a closed loop. It's like a VIP club, if one may put it that way. And to get past the bouncers, you don't need an idea. You don't need to know what it feels like to hold a dying man on the side of the 405. You just need to bend the knee. You have to kiss the ring. You have to use their specific acronyms. You have to buy their specific certification programs, and you have to endorse their books so they will endorse your book, and you have to play a game. And if you don't, you show up with a raw signal. If you show up and say, hey, this framework you're selling is 50 grand is actually just rebranded compliance bullshit, you're exiled. You're blacklisted. The door slammed shut. And this is what drives me absolutely insane. These are the exact same people who stand on massive stages under bright lights and preach to thousands of people psychological safety. And they talk about an inclusive culture. They tell leaders, you have to listen to the dissenting voice, that you have to make space for the truth. But the second you step into their arena and challenge their model, the psychological safety evaporates and the inclusion disappears. I've seen it firsthand for sure as I've gone through this process. I know brilliant safety professionals, people who have actually bled for this work, people who have sat in the mud and in grease and figured out ways to save lives, who get completely shut out of the conversations. Why? Because they didn't use the approved corporate tone, because they didn't want to pay the toll to the cartel, because they dared to speak the truth without putting the branded trademark symbol next to it. The system loves this. Secret societies, because they are safe. The system doesn't want actual disruption. It wants the performance of disruption. The cartel provides exactly that. They give organizations a shiny new PowerPoint deck with a new philosophy, maybe some branded stress balls and a hefty invoice, because that sure is going to come at the end. The executives get it and feel like, hey, we are being innovative. And the consultants get to buy a second boat. The workers are on the floor still stuck dealing with the schedule that is mathematically impossible to complete without taking any kind of level of a shortcut. It is an industry built on the illusion of expertise. We talk about this in books. When philosophy becomes a product, it loses its soul. You can't bottle presence. You can't sell signal, but these groups are trying to franchise it. They have turned human empathy and operational reality into a multi-million-dollar subscription model. And here's the rated R reality looks like. They need you to feel inadequate so they can sell you the cure. They need you to look at their credential, their keynotes, their perfectly curated LinkedIn posts and think, wow, I must not know what I'm doing. Let me buy that toolkit. But you do know what you're doing. That's what people tend to forget. If you are walking the floor, having real conversations with your crew and looking at the blue line and refusing to accept the sanitized bullshit that gets passed down from corporate, you are already doing real work. You don't need permission. You don't need their blessing. And you sure as shit don't need to beg for a seat at the table. Why would I want to sit at a table where everyone is echoing the same script anyways? Look, 1,300 episodes in, and here's the absolute truth. The people who are actually changing the industry are not the ones fighting for the spotlight. They are the ones fighting for the worker. The signal isn't happening on the main stage in Las Vegas. It's happening in the break room on Tuesday at 4 a.m. when supervisors look at the tired crew and says, you know what? The schedule is bullshit, and we're stopping the job until this gets right. That is the signal. So stop looking at the VIP section and stop caring if the safety cartel likes your post or approves of your method. Let them have their own secret society because that's important to them, and let them have their circle jerk of polished buzzwords. We are going to stay out here in the dirt. We are going to keep building our own signal. We are going to keep broadcasting the truth, whether they like the tone or not. This has been the main story definitely for episode 1300, but don't go anywhere because the show is definitely not over. We still have about 20 minutes left in this hour, and we're going to, do the stuff that we do. So as I'm going to jump forward here, I want you to think about this. I truly want you to give this some thought here, because sometimes we don't feel adequate by what we do because we need allegedly that secret society to be part of what we do. I'm telling you, it's not what you need.
Oops, what did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly. Less than $2 a month and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
You ever hit the wall, burnout, stressed, or just feeling that everything is piling up and thought, yeah, I probably need to talk to someone? The problem is finding the therapist who actually takes your insurance feels impossible at times. That's where Rula comes in. Rula is a healthcare company that makes mental health care easy to access and actually affordable. They partner with over 100 insurance, so the average copay is about $15 a session, sometimes even less. With Rula, you get matched with the right therapist for you, not just whoever's available. Their network has over 15,000 licensed professionals, and you can book an appointment as soon as tomorrow. No wait list, no frustrations, just therapy that works with your schedule and your insurance. Thousands of people are already using Rula to get affordable, high-quality therapy that actually covered by insurance. Visit Rula.com/safetyfm to get started. After you sign up, you'll be asked how you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know that we sent you there. That's RULA.com/safetyfm. You deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget. Go to Rula.com/safetyfm right now to get started. That's RULA.com/safetyfm, because you deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Okay, here we are, 45 minutes past the top of the hour. You are still hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. This right here is Midial. Song's called Silenced. It is readily available on Pandora, Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music, just in case if you were wondering. Definitely some stuff to talk about as we are hanging. So there you go. We would like to thank Medial for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. No doubt about that one. So let's get into a couple of things real quick before we get too far into the multiverse of things. So let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And we want you to know that people have been where you are now and that healing is possible. Things can get better. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging are the options of the things that you can do if you're so inclined to do so. That's TWLOHA.com. Go there. It can change everything for you if you allow it to. There is no doubt about that as we are talking. Anyways, let me tell you about a couple of things that we have coming up. March the 31st through April the 1st, Conklin Workshop taking place in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We'll be having a discussion about how to investigate a serious injury, and we will be talking about it workshop style, giving us the information of what exactly happened firsthand to Redonda Vaught in regards of how she handled a situation that she had going on. Will be hosted by Ann Learin, and of course we'll be using some of the stuff by Brett Sutton in regards to some of the tools that he has developed, and of course it'll be led through the Hop Lens by Todd Conklin. Would love to see you there. March the 31st through April the 1st, taking place in Santa Fe, New Mexico. There's a little QR code on the screen if you go there. If not, you can go to safetyfm.com and go into the section that says live events. So there you go. Once you get there, you'll see all kinds of stuff going on. And then this summer, if you don't have plans yet, let's start making them. This thing's going on and taking place here in good old Orlando. It's a reality show, the Observational Symposium, hosted by yours truly here. But we'll be talking that day with Todd Conklin, Nick Weatherly, and of course I'll be there too. It will be a cinematic experience. What does that mean? We'll be doing this at a movie theater. Yep, not a joke as I'm saying that. So right there's a QR code on the screen. If we want to go ahead and take a look around and see what we have going on, you can go there. Or you can go to safetyfm.com and click on the section that says live events. This is, like I said, one-day event here that we have going on, and currently we're running foundation pricing on that set of tickets for July. Would love to see you there, no doubt about that. It's definitely going to be an experience, one way different than the stuff we normally do. That's for sure, as we are talking. So there you go. some stuff to give some consideration on. So take a listen to this.
The top spot at the box office this weekend. At the box office.
The box office roundup.
The weekend box office.
At the box office this weekend.
Okay, so you know what we're going to talk about. It definitely sounds like we're going to talk about the box office. Let me just ask the strange question, because I always like to ask these things. Are these things important to you, or do you go, I do not care about the box office, but if you want to talk about it, you're more than welcome to? I always kind of wonder that, because depending on what hour of the show I'm on, some people really seem to care about this stuff, and then some other people are just kind of like, nope, don't care, don't share it, doesn't make anything different for me in regards to what we have going on. So what do you think? Is that important or not important? I don't know. So here you go. Let's go into them. Number 10 to number 1. At number 10 was Avatar with Fire and Ash. Let's see. At number 9, $2.3 million, Zootopia 2. Number 8, Solo Mio, $2.6 million. At number 7, Elvis Presley in Concert, $3.3 million. At number 6 was How to Make a Killing, $3.6 million. At number 5, Send Help, $4.5 million. At number 4 was Crime 101, $5.8 million. At number 3, I Can Only Imagine, Part 2, $8 million. Number 2 was Wuthering Heights with $14.2 million, meaning that there is a new number 1 movie, the animated basketball comedy GOAT, featuring the voices of Caleb McLaughlin and Gabrielle Union, is the number 1 movie in America, earning $17 million. So there you go. Some stuff to think about. Anyways, with that being said, let's bring some John Small into our life, because he wants to give us the Motivation Minute.
Brought to you by JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Tristan. Bill Copeland said, "Try to be like the turtle, at ease in your own shell." I've never heard of that quote before, but I like it. Have you ever met somebody who's uncomfortable in their own skin? I have. I know a very nice young man who's 100% perfect the way God made him, but he thinks he needs to be different. He and I were working on a project together, and he said, "I wish I was taller like you." I kind of laughed. I'm 5'11". I'm not really very tall. He went on about many other things he wished he was. I stopped him in the middle of all that nonsense and said, "You're great exactly the way you are." He needs to hear this quote. He needs to learn to be comfortable in his own shell like that turtle. Do you need help too? I'm nothing special, but I'm happy just as I am. Okay, I'm working on losing weight, but that was my own doing in the first place.
The Motivation Minute.
This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Pakistan strikes inside Afghanistan are drawing sharp global attention.
Pakistani forces say they hit militant targets linked to recent suicide bombings, calling the action a necessary response. Afghan Taliban officials report multiple civilian deaths and lodge a sharp protest. Regional diplomats warn the exchange could strain already fragile security talks between the neighbors. Gary Beck reporting.
In western Ukraine, investigators are treating deadly overnight blasts in Lviv as a terror attack.
Officials say explosions killed a 23-year-old police officer and wounded at least 25 people in the city. Authorities describe the incident as a deliberate act meant to spread fear. Ukraine's security services have opened a major inquiry as emergency crews secure damaged areas and gather evidence. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Across the U.S. Northeast, millions are dealing with a paralyzing blizzard that forecasters say could bring more than 2 feet of snow.
Meteorologists state that parts of the region are seeing whiteout conditions and strong winds that started Sunday night and will last into Monday. Travel could become dangerous or impossible, with highways and airports facing major disruption. Local officials urge people to stay off the roads, prepare for power outages, and check on neighbors. Kyle Norris reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
In Florida, an armed man was shot by Secret Service agents near former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort, prompting a heavy security response.
Authorities say the suspect was carrying a shotgun and a fuel can when agents confronted him close to the property. The man was shot and taken into custody. His condition has not been fully disclosed. Investigators are now working to determine a motive, while security around the compound remains visibly heightened. Lawrence Keller reporting.
Public health experts are revisiting an old fear as new reporting raises questions about how how well the U.S. is protected from polio.
A CBS News report notes that polio, once a scourge causing severe paralysis, still exists in parts of the world. Health officials stress that vaccination remains the best shield against any potential spread. They also warn that falling immunization rates in some communities could open the door to fresh outbreaks. Jessica Oakley reporting.
In a wide-ranging interview, U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer is outlining the administration's strategy on tariffs.
Greer tells Face the Nation that the White House plans to keep pressing for what it calls fairer treatment for American exporters. He defends the president's use of broad tariffs, even after a recent Supreme Court ruling limited some measures. Greer also signals that new negotiations with key partners are underway, aiming to ease tensions while maintaining leverage. Kevin Sanders reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Okay, 54 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's start talking right away. Back on this date in 1896, Tootsie Rollin' is introduced by Leo Hirschfeld. So there you go. 1905, Rotary Club International establishes by four men in Chicago. In 1910, the first radio contest is held. And let me see. Back in 2023, former Hollywood executive Harvey Weinstein is sentenced to 16 years in prison for rape in Los Angeles, on top of the 23 years that he's already serving for sex crimes. That happened back on this date based on what I was just telling you. We're looking at some celebrity birthdays for today. Brad Whitford turned 74, Kristen Davis 61, Josh Gad turns 45, Emily Blunt turns 43 today, and Dakota Fanning turns 32. So there you go. That's some birthdays for you. Let's talk about some things that you ought to know. Here are Friday's winning Mega Million numbers. 15, 40, 48, 58, 63, and the Mega Ball was 2. Also, here are Saturday's winning Powerball numbers, 27, 28, 36, 48, 49, and the Powerball was 21, and the Power Play was 4.
Duh.
The executors at Jeffrey Epstein's estate have agreed to settle a class action lawsuit filed by survivors of his abuse for at least $25 million. Epstein's longtime lawyer, Darren Indick, and his accountant were accused of helping conceal Epstein's illegal conduct for financial gain. They have agreed to pay, but not deny any wrongdoing. But deny any wrongdoing is the way I should say it. Also, Tyler Reddick won yesterday at Auto Trader 400 NASCAR race at Echo Park Speedway in Georgia, just so you know. And then a new Washington Post ABC new Ipsos poll shows that a rough water for Donald Trump. According to the survey, 60% of Americans say that they disapprove of the way that he's handling the job. Nearly half of the group, 47%, say that they strongly disapprove. And on the other side, 39% say that they approve on his performance. The poll notes that the last time his disapproval hit 60% mark was shortly after the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. The biggest weak spots, inflation, tariffs, and foreign policy. The kitchen table issues and the global chessboard. The survey was conducted on February the 12th through the 17th among 2,859 U.S. adults and carries a margin of error of plus or minus 2% points. So there you go. Some stuff to talk about. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together. At the top of the hour, I'll be going over to radiobig.fm. If you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so, I'll be talking about the world of music and then the world of entertainment on that side of the house. If you don't want to go over there, that's perfectly fine. You can hang out here on Safety FM with the likes of Sheldon Primus, as he will be talking about the world of safety consulting. If I can't leave you with some words of wisdom for today, would love to leave you with this. Change, but start slowly. Direction is more important than speed. And then if I can leave you with some advice, no food for 3 hours before bed, no drinks 2 hours before bed, and no screens for 1 hour before bed. Tell me how much that will change your life. No doubt there. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios. as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth. Through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion. The book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice, sold your rebellion as a new initiative, and smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly, you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author Jay Allen, PhD. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.